I am talking about the 12 houses in astrology, and we are on the 11th house. And as I've said throughout this whole series, is each house builds upon each other, and there is a relationship between the houses. So you always want to look to the opposing house. And so today when we're talking about the 11th house, we're talking about Aquarius's house. And so the opposite house is the 5th house. In the 5th house, we have our childlike self shining bright, our courageous self, the courage to be unique and to really put ourselves out there. In the 11th house, we have that reflected, and that's more of the grown-up house, the way that we want to be expressing ourselves to the community, how well we're received by the community when we do express ourselves. And it is Aquarius's house, and it's ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is the change maker, the sudden lightning speed changes. So if you're someone who has a lot of planets in the 11th house, you might notice that you go through changes in terms of how well you feel excuse me, how well you feel like you're received by the community. So the other thing that it might indicate, if you have a lot of planets in the 11th house, is that you are a change maker in terms of your larger community. And when we think about this, and we think about Aquarius is the rebel, and it almost takes someone that's rebellious enough to stand on their own 2 feet and to risk not being accepted in order to make great change. So the 11th house really is about change, and it is about being eccentric and inventive and really leading, cutting edge, leadership. So all of those things, and then also there's an element of social justice. Why aren't my words working today? It's an element of social justice and humanitarianism. And so if you think about this, there is kind of this collective mentality around what's acceptable and what's not. And it really takes someone to be courageous to kind of be cutting edge in terms of, well, actually, I'm just not going to drive anymore, or I'm just not going to do this. So it's very interesting to notice that, and then really kind of pushing us ahead into the future. And I always think of someone like David Bowie, who was so unique and really led for a whole bunch of people to feel okay in their weirdness, to feel okay in their eccentricness. So that kind of thing is 11th house, and it is a fixed house. And just so the fixed houses are the 2nd, the 5th, the 8th, and the 11th. And so for all of those houses, it's really building upon the house before it. So if in the 10th house, we come into our own authority and own ideas of what we're here to share, the 11th house really is the determination and the follow through, the sticking with it to kind of get to that place where you can affect change in your work in the world. And a lot of astrologers think of it as the house of luck and good spirit. So it's kind of one of those things that if you have a lot of planets here, you kind of have this blessing, so to speak, I believe, in order to have the courage to push forward and to be unique and to let your own light shine and all those things. So this is the 11th house in astrology, and I hope you guys enjoy this series. If you have a lot of planets in the 11th house, let me know, or if you have any questions, post them below.